Welcome to CS Radio. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 230 of CS Radio. I'm Michael and Natty.
And I'm Natty Leach.
And we've got a special guest with us today, Natty.
We do. We have Megan Chambers back again.
An old friend, a familiar face.
Former associate director on the Wharton undergrad team of career services.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a year? It's been like a full year, a little bit more?
Yeah, June. June 6th, June 7th.
So almost a full year.
Since I've left, yeah.
And even longer since your first podcast appearance, which you've
So-
reminded us
2
didn't go
years
as we
ago.
anticipated.
So I would say if we had a print listing of all the guests that have ever been on CS Radio, then Megan Chambers would have an asterisk next to her name because, as I know Megan recalls,
I will never forget it.
you were not here
Yeah, I had
as
a dentist
usual,
appointment or something.
leaving me high and dry. But so Megan and I recorded an interview, but my audio did not record. And so I only had Megan's side of the conversation. And so to salvage that, because we didn't want to lose an episode and lose the great conversation we had, I edited Megan's responses together and I recorded some sort of transition material.
Did you act? Was it acting?
It was narration, perhaps.
Okay.
Being like, and then later I asked Megan to reflect on her time as a marine biologist. And then she did a little monologue, which I know Megan didn't love. So we're here to give Megan a real official
We're fixing it, unless I mess something up on the board before sitting down, and then
CS
it's all
Radio
happening again.
interview. And here in the new studio. So we're so excited.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, really excited to be back and to see the new space. Because when I left, we were still in the basement of McNeil. And
Yeah.
here we are.
It's a dreary day, but still the windows are here, and you can. It makes a
Yes, the
huge
windows are
difference
so
even on a
nice.
cloudy day
Yes,
like this.
absolutely.
There's been an Instagram reel being shared around our office where somebody posted the history of this corner, of the corner of 40th and Walnut, basically over the last 20 years, basically since like my whole time at Penn, from it being McDonald's to this being a building. I mean, the McDonald's, I think they changed the color of the roof about 10 years in, but and they put a bus stop outside, but otherwise it was pretty much, it was like 4 shots of McDonald's looking pretty much the same.
It was ridiculous because it, like the caption was like, the world loses more color again or something. Like it's a more dreary place without the color of McDonald's or something.
So I had
And
completely
so
forgotten
melodramatic.
that when I started that McDonald's had a bright red, like McDonald's
Like
red
McDonald's
roof.
roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Playpen?
mm,
Ball pit?
no, there was a picnic bench out front. That
Okay.
was it. There's
Okay.
no. Now in the city, those things you don't find too many of
Yeah.
those.
But the most colorful is the ball pit.
That would have been very colorful. So yeah, bright red roof, which I forgot, and then like sometime around 2010, they moved it to the sort of McDonald's brown,
Yeah.
which
I
is
wasn't
more
sure what
dreary.
I would call that
and
color.
and now our building is sort of a McDonald's brown. No, it's brick. It's brick.
Yeah.
But I think the McDonald's downstairs is a lot nicer than the McDonald's
way
that was
nicer.
there.
The comments on the thread were like half, that's the nicest McDonald's I've been in, and half, wow, we're losing our culture, and people would be responding, be like, bro, it was a McDonald's.
It's always been a McDonald's.
and it's still a McDonald's. I think they did a really good job. I think Natty and I have had our share of McDonald's already, but like it serves its purpose in the community. Like that's really popular. It's one of there aren't too many spots on campus where you feel like everybody is there. Penn people, neighborhood people. Maybe people were just like, I got to get some McDonald's. Where's the closest McDonald's? And so that's great, and it's really nice. There's often a lot of high school kids in there, which you don't get to see in other spots around, around campus.
Cool.
Raising Cane's sometimes does. This whole block.
Yeah.
But yeah, how's the last year been going?
It's been good. It's been unexpected, but I think the biggest thing I've taken away from this past year is just listening to your gut and really focusing on your mental as well as physical wellness.
Okay.
I think that's my biggest takeaway. So after leaving Penn, I was at an ed tech startup. Wasn't a great fit for me. That ended in November, and now I'm embarking on a boutique fitness journey, which I've always
That's
loved.
where the physical wellness comes in.
Yeah, and mental wellness
Okay.
as well. If you happen to be a millennial woman listening to this and you were in the 2000s, you probably remember boutique fitness, Pure Barre, Soul Cycle was like a big thing. There was like a big boom. That's still going on right now. So I'm at Club Pilates in Haddonfield as a senior sales rep, recently promoted to lead senior sales rep.
Nice.
And I love it. I never thought that it would be feasible for me to be in boutique fitness like that, and like I am, and it's so good. It's so good. It's near my house. I can bike if I want to. I don't have to drive. If I do drive, it's 5 minutes. And it's just
I imagine
like,
it gives you like a really good community feel too, right? Like just for your neighborhood to be working both so close there and getting to see people who come to the studio, all of those kind of things can help feel like you're part of the community even more than when you'd have to get on the bridge and come all the way over here to Philly all the time.
I would definitely say not commuting 2 hours a day has allowed me to really just like focus on wellness in general. I live in South Jersey, for people who don't know. So coming over to Ben Franklin is not my favorite thing to do in the world, especially during like getting to work time or coming home from work time. So I'm glad I get to be close to home. I get to make connections with people in the community. A lot of our members are other Haddonfield moms that I know or from surrounding towns, Collingswood, Westmont, Haddon Township. That's great. I love getting to know them. The team there is phenomenal. It's woman-owned by 2 sisters who are amazing. It's just a really great, positive place. I think after my 6 months at a startup, I really needed somewhere to kind of build my own self-worth and self-confidence as someone in the workforce up again. And this has been just such a breath of fresh air. So it's unexpected. Like my
Yeah,
whole
I'm sure a
journey.
year ago
Yeah,
you
I would
didn't
not have
expect
thought
it.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, I'm so happy.
Great. I mean, it's
So.
good to hear. And obviously, like, one of the things we talk about on the podcast a lot is the idea of the career journey not always being what you expect, and
Yeah.
also just being open and flexible with both checking in with yourself on what is best for you, but also trying to find a good fit both for the values that you have and the values of the employer that you're at. And it sounds like you found a place that aligns with both of those things.
Yeah, it really does. And I think if you look at my very unique background, you know, my undergrad was marine ecology, a Bachelor of Science in Marine Ecology. And I did that. I did the marine educator at the Seattle Aquarium, leading programs at Pacific Science Center when I was out in Seattle, coming here, moving to higher ed, first Drexel, then Penn. But I think if you look at every single job I've had, there's always this common thread of building relationships, whether I'm building relationships with Penn students to help them reach their career goals, Drexel students, working with K-12 students to help inspire their love of the marine environment and connecting with them that way. Even to now, I get to connect with members and, you know, it's a lot of member retention, membership account management, and just getting to know people and their stories. And that's been the same. So I think you can have a lot of different jobs or careers if you want to. And I think if you look at that, there's going to be a common thread through all of those that kind of is what I'm looking towards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and so this week, Michael and I were sitting in on the Handshake Access Conference, and something that came up, there are often sessions that are very about what does work look like now, especially from the perspective of younger people.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting, the idea, which comes up, and everybody, I think, inherently knows at this point, that you usually don't look at your career out of undergrad as being like all caps career.
Right.
This is my life now.
Right.
But I thought it was interesting because, I mean, obviously I think students know that. I think that is just culturally known by society as well. And yeah, I think sometimes students still think about it that way because they still think about this next job is going to dictate my entire life. Even if they're not thinking that they're going to stay there forever, they have it in their head of like, this first step will be everything to where I end up in the next few years. And it doesn't have to be. Like, there's lots of ways that you can move around and your journey can look different in all sorts of
Yeah,
different
of course. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It doesn't have to dictate anything. People pivot all the time. I mean, whatever it is, good, bad, or just indifferent, it's going to be a building block on the rest of your life, right? Because you're either going to be like, that's great, I did this and it moved me, and I just continued in that same industry or the same company, but I built up and I moved up levels, or it was great, I got that experience, and then I moved over to a competitor or a similar,
Yeah.
like a sort of a vertical move, and then I built off of that, or I got there, I didn't like this at all, and so I moved somewhere else, but that propelled me to go, and pursue something different. So everything is a building block, but as somebody said at the conference, gone are the days of you're going to start a job and then in 40 years they're going to give you a gold watch.
Yeah.
Where's my
I was
gold?
gonna
Where's
say.
my gold
Michael,
watch,
where's your
Pen?
gold
You got
watch?
a gold immersion blender. It wasn't gold.
It was not an immersion blender either. It was a
Oh,
screw
was it?
gun.
I thought you got a blender of some
I got
kind.
it
You
for
got a screw gun?
yeah, that was my 20 year. So now you get to pick from a catalog.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they used to give Penn branded things. So for 5 years, no, for 10 years, I got a silver platter back when they were doing fancy pen gifts. So I got a silver platter for 10. For 15, by the time I was 15, they had moved to the catalog. So I picked out a mini food processor.
Oh, that's
There
what
you
I.
go.
There,
And then
okay.
for 20, I got a screw gun. I had the whole office waiting on what to get because the
that's
choices
smart.
were kind of
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I mean, you're very much emphasizing screw gun because it's not really a drill.
It's definitely not a drill. It said it was a drill.
It's a drill.
It's
It is
not a
definitely
drill.
not a drill. It's a screw gun.
It's not a drill.
It's not a drill. This is not a drill. I also got a certificate of appreciation from the division.
Oh, lovely.
That's true. It's on the wall in one of the offices,
That's
isn't it? Or did you
wonderful.
take it down? No one knows who put that up, by the way.
No one knows who put that up.
Oh.
I had gotten it right at the move.
Yeah.
We had a big divisional kickoff, and they honored all of the award, not the award winners, all the anniversary people. And they gave them all certificates, and then we came back to the office, and I just put it down on the desk, and then the next time I was in the office, it was pinned up on the bulletin board in the office.
Now it feels wrong to remove it.
Obviously.
Well, I did what I did.
Oh my goodness.
And so one of the things that Meg and I talked about before this, because I remember, I don't think you remembered this, but I remember Michael and I did a podcast episode that we talked about assessment tools and the quality.
strengths.
We talked about the Clifton strengths. We talked about a few of those things. And, it occurred to me in the moment of that podcast that we were doing not the best job with it. And I thought, why didn't we ask Megan to talk about this? Because Megan was an expert when she was here in the office on Clifton strengths. It was a huge loss that we had because there's really not many people in the office now who do that. I think we
No, I think
have
it's just Laura.
Laura
right?
now who
Yeah.
does it.
Mm-hmm.
When I started, it used to be almost everybody.
But we had a lot of
right?
people were trained on it, yeah.
And so it's really fallen off in terms of popularity of our advisors doing it. I think maybe there's some reason in terms of popularity of students. Some of the students do it already as part of their classes, so maybe they feel
Yeah.
less motivated to do it with us.
Yeah.
But there still is tremendous value to looking at things from that perspective, which I think you always had, that now we don't have as much of that emphasis anymore.
Yeah, and I think just that idea of whatever your, at least if we're thinking in terms of Clifton strengths, whatever, those top 5 or top 10 are, you can really interpret those in a lot of different ways and apply them in different ways. And I think that's really important to take with you wherever you go, whether it's in like career, financial, personal, you can apply it in a lot of different ways, which I think is really cool about them. I still look at mine from time to time, especially when I was in this area of I don't know what I want to do. I didn't like that. I'm not sure if I want to go back to higher ed. Where do I go next? And I did kind of just use that as part of my reflection piece. And the opportunity I'm in now presented itself, and it was yeah, let's do that for a while. But I do recognize with that, doing something you've always wanted to do that might not necessarily be the career you got your degree in, or is the one that's mostly on your resume, the one that maybe pays better than others. I also want to recognize that that is a privilege to be able to pursue those paths. And and be still financially stable while doing that. So I recognize that's not the case for everyone. But I was just lucky with different things landing in my life the way they were, that we're able to make it work. And it's been really exciting, and I really love it there.
Do you remember what your top 5 strengths are?
Relationship building.
Okay.
I think the first 2 were definitely like blue relationship
Like you say,
building
you had
skills.
2 or 3 in the same either blue or green categories.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the blue or the green mean. I think one of them is relationship based though.
Yeah, that's the blue.
Okay.
And then strategic thinking was also in there, like execution.
Yep. Oh no. Yep. That sounds right.
Yep. But I haven't looked at them recently, to be honest, so I can't
I was gonna
remember.
say, I don't remember. I know we did it, right? We did this as a division, right?
Yeah, we did. It wasn't that long ago, but you might have still been here when we did.
Yeah, it was
I think
probably
we
like 2
did.
summers ago, but
Yeah.
I don't remember. I just remember that everyone was obsessed with Woo.
Well, what was the fun one?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone.
And we
loves
had
Woo.
we had very few wooers in the division, but I know Diane Hall was one of them.
Yeah, she might have been the only one in the office. Maybe
She may have been.
Tina or something. There might have been one other person.
That would
We
make
were
sense.
all relationship or strategic
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
leading,
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
makes sense. We advise and support
It's like
students.
we all ended up here for similar reasons, I think, from who we are, which then showcases in there, which
Right, exactly.
is sometimes good, and sometimes it means that we have similar pitfalls that we aren't as good at covering some things than others. But it was still an interesting tool to look at. I don't think I redid it. I think I just used the one I had done most recently.
Yeah, you never redid it.
Yeah. But I think I did it. I might have redone it redid it when you were learning because you wanted to assess me,
Yeah, you had to train people as
Yes.
part of the training.
which was very scary. You had to you had to walk me through my inner thoughts that I didn't even know myself.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants
I don't remember what I had. Ideation, I think, was one of them.
That was like your number 1.
That's very you.
It's like, here are all these ideas. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking outside the box.
Ideation, sleep deprivation. Those are your top things, I think.
Yeah.
But so in context of, so this is something that we offer to students, though currently we have less staff that are trained in it than we have had in the past. It is something that we can do. We also have other similar inventories available. We have the MBTI, which a few more people are trained in, and I think a lot of people are familiar with MBTI. A lot of clubs
ENFJ.
do it.
I'm an ENFJ.
INFJ.
I feel like everyone in our office was either ENFJ or INFJ.
Yeah, basically.
It was like very overwhelming.
Yeah.
What is it? So EI is extrovert. Introvert.
Yep.
I don't remember what the N is. Intuition. It's something weird where it's not doesn't actually. It's
I
not
think
an
that's
N
right.
word.
Intuitive. Yeah.
Feeling is the F, and
Uh-huh.
J is judging,
Judging.
which sounds bad, but I
no,
hear
it's
it's
just
not.
assessing.
Yeah, I
and
think it's
seeing,
about how
like,
you interpret
what's-
things,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
How you consider things in the world. Did you get MBTI?
A while ago. I can't remember what I was, though,
Okay.
to be honest.
I remember this is several years ago, when he had just taken over. I went to a taping of Stephen Colbert's Late Show, and much to my joy, they did a segment on him taking the Myers-Briggs,
Oh, that's nice.
and he's also an INFJ.
Oh, there you go.
See, but that's what's so interesting. The extrovert introvert thing.
It's about where
It's
you get
crazy
your
to
energy
me.
from. So it's not really being so. Both Stephen Colbert and I are comfortable in front of an audience,
Yes.
right?
Shocker.
The
one of the
World Wide
many
Web.
things we
Wow.
have in common,
Yeah.
our Catholic past and our love of being on stage.
But as soon as the cameras are off,
But then I need
you're
to.
a statue,
It's not quite a
and you
statue.
glare at us.
Not quite a statue, but I would rather. So at if you do a show,
Yeah.
and then you go to an after party or something, a cast party, there's always the people that are like big and loud, and they're sort of riding the high of the show, and they're still, quote unquote, on, right? And that's where they're getting all of their energy from. When I'm done with a performance, I really like to come down from it. So I'd rather be in a quiet room, just chatting with,
Introspective.
with one or two people, or maybe outside, or just sitting and watching the people who are still high energy and enjoying that, but not being a part of it, because I'm drained from doing the performance, because I don't get my energy from talking to a lot of people and so I got a talk show. So what? Yeah, I don't know. It's not perfect, but it's about where that energy comes from. If I had to talk to people all day long, I couldn't do this show.
Yeah.
But because most of my time is spent in quiet introspective in my office, I have the energy to come and talk to people on the show.
I feel like I'm so close in the middle that I've taken it multiple times where I've gotten I and I've taken it 3 times and I got E twice and I got I once.
Yeah, I think you're right. Our former co-host Milan, she's an E. She is a big people person. She gets her energy from really staying engaged with people.
And there are times I feel like that. I mean, I've felt like that recently, as the Grimace guys chat has been going unhinged due to my own spiraling.
You've had a lot of high energy lately.
But next week, then I'll have no energy. Grimace guys is the Michael, Dustin, Natty side chat.
Oh my gosh.
Because Grimace.
Yeah, you all would.
The taste bud.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
No,
Glad you all have
it
that.
should be no shock.
It's literally no shock at all.
Yeah.
Makes complete sense.
But for our students, so these are tools that we offer. There's also some free tools that we use. Career Explorer.
I was going to ask if you guys still use Career Explorer.
Career Explorer is the big one. I think it has the most in it, which helps. So, like, it has a little bit of all of these things we've talked about, where and it attaches it to actual careers. In some ways, that's great because it gives good suggestions, and then you can click on those careers, and I think it uses data.
I do remember that when we were demoing that, and I took it. My number two best career for me was screenwriter, but my number one was UI designer, user interface designer, and that really made me think why it thought that, because that's not something I would think I would be good at. But when I read the description, I was like, oh, so not doing the actual, like, behind the scenes coding or anything, but knowing what is user friendly, how do you, if you will, tell the story of what you want to happen. Like, there's someone's got a start point and you want them to get to an end point by clicking on things. How do you get them to do that? And what's the ease of use for the user? I was like, oh, that kind of does sound interesting to me.
And you are the biggest user of organizing our website. And
it's true.
It
is true.
In a good place there. So that makes a lot of sense too.
I would always use your Career Explorer, Natty, as an example when I was advising students, because I think yours, you got like musician and then also like therapist.
I got music therapist.
Yeah, music therapy.
The literal
That's
combination
what it
of
was.
those
And
two.
it was like, okay, so if we think about that, you enjoy music and you do bring that to the office in terms of your, working on the production, like the podcast and other things. And then a therapist talks to people and helps people, and you're a career coach. So that's what you do. So if you look deeper to Michael's point, like what that actually means, it doesn't mean you need to be a music therapist.
Right. It's not prescriptive.
It's not prescriptive.
Yeah. And it's like that for me, it meant that combination of creativity, but also helping others in some sort
And
of
I think
way.
that's an important part of any of these tools that you take, is that you should take the moment to think about what the results mean for you, and don't just take them right at face value. So, so if it suggests a career for you, if it's not one you were expecting, I mean, maybe it'll be exactly what you thought you would. That's great. I
think Career Advisor was on my list.
I'm sure it would. But if Screenwriter had been number one on my list, I would have been like, yep, okay, this is fine. I wouldn't really. But because it said UI designer, I really had to stop and think, oh, why does that apply to me, and what about those things does it think I would bring to the table? So just like if you take an MBTI, you might be surprised whether you're an I or an E, and then but again, your knee-jerk reaction is, well, I'm not an extrovert, but think about where you get your energy from and what kind of tasks you enjoy doing that are more quote unquote extroverted. So I think those are the best reasons to sort of do some of these things, because it can force reflection.
Yeah, for sure. And the reflective part is the hardest part to do sometimes. 'Cause I think a lot of times we don't always blast out and tell every student to do Career Explorer. And one of the reasons for that is I think it helps to add some background to like the things you were saying.
Yeah.
Because I've met with students who have done it and come into the office and been like, yeah, that wasn't worth it because it told me I should be a carpenter, and that was dumb. But then I've been able to say, why do you think it said carpenter, and they
Do you
were
like to build things,
Yeah.
or fix things, or
working with the hands, having a
Yeah.
tangible product,
Mhm.
not being tied to a desk and having to sit down in one place for forever long,
Right.
but actually being able to move around as part of your work too.
But attention to detail.
But attention to
and
detail and like
very
Yep.
specific measurements. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can see even overlap with engineering with that
Yep,
too,
absolutely.
obviously. And then we have a good number of students who go into tech. And tech is our third highest often of where students go, and I think a lot of similar skills from carpentry might come into how you would look at the tech
Absolutely.
space too.
yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just think it's really great, Natty, like you said, we can sort of guide students through these things. Obviously, if you're taking MBTI or Clifton Strengths, you make an appointment and we go through your results together. But we can do that with Career Explorer too. And in fact, a change we made, this is several years ago, but I think it's been very helpful, is you sort of have to have a pre-appointment before you do any of these things. You can't just sign up to take the MBTI, and then we really want you to come and discuss why are you going to take this, what are you going to get out of it, what are we going to discuss together afterwards, to kind of give you that perspective, that jumping off point, that it's not necessarily prescriptive, and it's going to a big piece of it is the reflective piece.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to be reflective in the moment.
Of course.
It can
Yeah.
help. You were talking, Megan, earlier about how, like, in your journey, it was helpful to think through this is what I value as I go step by step.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times it's easy just to, get on the train and let it take you wherever
Yeah.
it's going.
Yeah.
What were some of the, I mean, I know you said you didn't remember all of the exact strengths you had, but what were some of the ones that stood out when you were doing that reflective piece for how things have gone over the last year that really started to be the most valuable to you in how you were assessing and looking at your situation?
Yeah, I think it was helping people, kind of to your point. Obviously, there's relationship building as part of that, but just feeling like I'm doing some sort of a service, or I'm helping you understand a system, or helping you think about your career goals, or helping you have a great experience with the studio and help you reach your fitness goals and help you understand like everything behind it of like what that type of fitness is. I just really get that energy from just helping others like achieve whatever it is that they want in all those different ways. And that to me, when I was kind of thinking about my next step, I knew the studio was recently opened, and I just emailed the regional manager and was like, hey, here's my resume. It doesn't match with this at all, but here's why I think I'm a good fit, and here's how this has benefited me in the past. And like, she was like, great, let's get on the phone. Hopped on the phone. She hired me. And now here we are with being promoted 6 months later, and other leadership developments can't really discuss yet happening in the future. And yeah, I'm just on it, doing it. I think, and I get this question a lot. People are like, do you regret leaving like a stable job like Penn, to try something new? And honestly, I don't. Like, even in my moments when things weren't working out, I didn't, because I know that I needed something else and I wanted to pursue a different facet of myself. So that's always been an anchor for me through everything too. Like,
And how long were you here at Penn?
like almost 3 years.
And I remember thinking there was one point where you were the most seasoned advisor.
Yeah.
That's
In our
that-
office.
we had a lot of turnover at one point.
Yeah, and I do think 3 years is right now on average. I think most people probably say like in the 2 to 4 year range, most places. So you were right in the middle of that. I think you had done so much that benefited our office, but also benefited yourself, and so it makes sense to think about what can I do next to see something new. The thing is
And it wasn't an easy choice.
oh, of course,
I
yeah.
labored over that.
Yeah,
for,
we talked about it a lot.
like a lot. Like, Natty was like, stop texting me, just make a decision. But yeah, I'm happy where I'm at now, and I'm glad you all were able to have me on just to share that, like, yeah, a year ago this is not where I thought I'd be at all.
It's so important.
At
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
But I'm happy and I feel fulfilled. And
you still have what's true to you, so the helping others piece, and a lot of what you did, you talked about the marine biology educator side. A lot of it has been very direct education. And
yes,
then,
education related. Yep.
Yep. And then I think that was your change of pace when you were working in ed tech, but it still had obviously the education component to it because it was
Yes.
in that space.
Yep.
But it was a kind of different style of looking at things,
Yeah.
which I think, as a person going through that, it's really good to diversify and see what those other things are like as you're going through it. And now you're kind of coming back and being like, oh, more of that direct touch piece was important, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
With your new job at the boutique studio,
Pilates
studio. I was like, I'm going to say that.
And I think it's so like it just circle back. That's another reason why doing those sort of self-evaluations is so good, because you can break it down to what are the things that I'm good at, that I like. And then, we talk, Natty and I always do a transferable skills workshop in the fall. So, like, what is it that you can break it down to those little pieces? I talk about it when I work with the students in the Hosley Digital Fellowship, because they're all going to be working on projects.
Did we do that last fall? Someone did it without it. I was gone again.
You were at the dentist yet again. And I did it solo.
I don't go that often to the dentist.
Do you ever show up to work, Natty?
He only goes when I need him, and it's fair.
I'm on camera here. There's more documented evidence of me being at work than anyone else.
I did that solo this year, but we always do it with that group, because it's the same thing. They're doing projects that aren't tied in any way to their major for the most part. Some of them tie it into their studies, but they're all just sort of doing something for fun. And then we talk about, well, how can you talk about this as part of your job search, or you're going to grad school, breaking it down to component pieces, similar to Megan, I'm not acting here, right? I'm not writing plays here, but I am our storyteller for the office. That we're doing this. I'm interviewing people. I'm in charge of the blog, and I'm writing things, and I'm shaping our social media story. So I am using my storytelling and performance abilities.
Should we
every
change your
day.
job title to
Office storyteller?
Office storyteller?
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
love that.
Senior Associate Director for Storytelling.
I like it.
I mean,
too.
that's why I love my
that.
colleagues, Christine and Tex over at the Education Commons.
Yeah.
Have amazing titles. I always get it slightly wrong, but they're like the associate directors of play.
I was gonna say, isn't play?
Play is part of it.
Amazing.
Because they are huge advocates of learning through play, right? And how we can be doing something for fun that can be skill building and life skills.
Yeah,
And
it's cool
so
when job
great.
titles say something. Sometimes they don't. I was even thinking when you were talking about how you feel about your job, is your job title doesn't necessarily
no, it
say
doesn't
that.
at all.
What was it again? It
Senior
had marketing
sales
in
rep.
it. Or rep.
Yeah. So
Or sales. Yeah, sales. is what I
yeah.
was thinking.
So it's like there is sales to it, but also breaking it down into its components, similar to Michael, it's account management. We have over 500 accounts that we're managing constantly on the daily, different tasks with them. There is a sales component in terms of selling memberships and reaching those goals and connecting with people. And there's a whole system for that. It's very similar to the account management system that I used in my prior role, just a little bit different, made for the fitness world. And
the vibe isn't always be closing. It isn't.
No. My manager is actually more of I want you to get to know people and build relationships. And if the sale comes, that's great. If not, I just want to be a place where people feel welcome and people feel like empowered to practice like a fitness, like Pilates. And they just feel comfortable. And on top of that, I just kind of think like, okay, like when I met with undergrad students and let's say they had a summer job like at a cafe or something like that, they'd be like, well, how do I put this on my resume? And it's like, well, actually, as a server, you're doing a lot. Your time management, you have to stay organized. You have to talk to clients. You have to.
You're managing transactions.
You're managing transactions. So I think about that a lot, that even though this job is not what I thought, there are still a lot of things I'm doing that can be applied back into fields that I was in. And I'm not open to other opportunities, but for now I'm just kind of seeing where things go, which, as Natty knows, and I don't know if Michael knows as well, I was very much like, I graduated undergrad, I got my master's right away, I didn't wait. I jumped into the field I thought I would be in right away. I was very duh. So the fact that I'm at a place now where I'm like, this is working, I'm doing well, I'm happy, let me just see where this goes. not closed off to returning to higher ed down the line or an ed tech down the line. Who knows? But I'm just kind of going with it. And that's like a really big step for me because I'm a planner and I like my plans. And this plan did not go.
Yeah, Megan asked me like a week ago, what are we going to have for lunch? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I like a plan. So this is also, I think, a big growth experience for me. It's like, just go with it and enjoy it and still being able to have impact on people. And I mean, I could think of one example. Again, if you're not really in the fitness world, I don't know if this would resonate with anyone, but if you are, you know, if you use your Apple Watch to track workouts, anyone? Or like a Garmin
Galaxy.
maybe, or like Strava, you know, it's like, oh, if Strava didn't record your run, did you actually run? Sort of deal. Like, if it didn't record it, did you actually work out? That's like a common, like, kind of joke thing.
I did.
I was gonna say, this isn't gonna land with Michael.
So I'm not a runner, but I record.
Oh, I meant more just the whole tech side of it, of being
a slave to technology.
Yes, the overlords monitoring your every movement.
Yeah, I don't love that, but I do record my walks. But if it doesn't record or I forget to hit it, I still walked. I know I walked, even if Tim Cook doesn't.
Right, and I think some people in the fitness space, they really rely on that a lot to track their goals and what they're doing. And I had a member come in and they had forgotten their Apple Watch, and they were kind of freaking out about it. They were like, oh no, this isn't gonna like track exactly what I want it to today, and was like really freaking out about it, which if you're committed to something like that's not like out of the ordinary for fitness and studios. And I was just like, hey, you're here, your body knows you did it, it still counts, like have a great workout, push yourself. And then that was it. And then this person left, and then they came back a couple days later for their next class, and they were like, I'm so glad you're here today, thank you so much, like your pep talk, I got home and was so upset that I didn't have my Apple Watch on, and I thought about what you said to me in our little conversation, and like seriously, that like changed my life that day. And like, I love that. I want to help people and be their person.
Yeah.
And you can do that in any industry. I guess that's just what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for you, you're the face of fitness and not just the technology of fitness for them, where they get too reliant on the tracking. You bring the humanity piece to it.
Well, I actually joke, I'm not wearing them today, but I do have an Apple Watch and the Oura Ring, you know, the ring.
Emily has one of
and I always joke to my husband when I take them off, I'm like, I'm going off the grid. Oura Ring's off, Apple Watch is off, no one knows what I'm doing now.
I've had this watch for a long time. I stopped wearing it for a while, and I just started wearing it again, and I'm already starting to feel that way. Like, I took it off last night, and I felt like, what about all the things I'm not going to capture? And I feel like I won't be meeting the mark of what I need, but it's all imaginary.
What do you need?
I don't know.
You don't need anything,
exactly.
Natty. You've got everything you need.
We're the Tamagotchi that we're trying to keep alive now.
I'm the Tamagotchi?
Yeah,
Yes.
so you're your own Tamagotchi.
You are.
I don't like the idea. I feel like
I've found when I'm at home, when I'm working from home, I don't put my Apple Watch on. I'm just like, what's it going to tell me that my computer's not going to tell me, or my phone?
your heart rate has flatlined.
I'll know.
I'll know if something's up.
There was a Taskmaster clip I saw not that long ago. I can't remember what the prompt was. It was something along the lines of, it might be wrong, but it was something like, do the most regrettable thing, which sounds very, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? And the one guy took off his like fitness tracker watch and then just started doing as many steps as he could.
Yes, it's a thing. It's
and
like
then he
a
was
thing.
like freaking out. He was like, no, you do not understand.
There it is.
This is
I'm
ruining
telling
my
you.
life right now.
Yeah,
I regret
know.
every single movement that I make.
That's the thing with that.
This is where I was saying I don't think these kinds of things would land with you, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I can be a slave to technology myself. I was complaining to Natty that I had to come into the office extra early because I knew we were recording this morning, and I had something that needed to go live online at 9 o'clock, and I was only able to automate about 75% of it. So I had to be at my desk at 9 a.m. I couldn't be in transit so that everything could go live simultaneously. And I'll tell you why. So I typically set my devices to do not disturb when we record, but we were sort of in a rush and I didn't think to do that, and my watch is blowing up and I already glanced down. I screwed something up, and so but I just have to let it go.
Just let it go.
It'll be fine. I'll fix it in 30 minutes when we're done talking. It'll be fine. It'll be fine, right? It'll
Just
be
keep
fine.
saying
It'll
It'll be fine.
I can give you a pep talk too,
No,
Michael,
it'll be
if
fine.
that would help
I've
you.
already let it go. But did I think to myself, oh, I'm gonna have to tell them we need to pause so I can go and fix that? And I'm like, why?
What's another 10 minutes or
what's
whatever?
it gonna matter? What's it gonna matter? It's all gonna be fine. And if they click on the link, the information's right after you click on the link.
There you
It's
go.
fine. Just click on the link.
Yep.
So, that's it's like a whole other topic. Obviously, I'm passionate about being our relationship with technology and the pitfalls, and yes, if you took a walk this is my public announcement. If you worked out and your watch didn't record it, 1, good for you, and 2, you did it.
I love that, Michael.
Your watch
yes.
doesn't need to know
Completely
that you did
agree.
it. And I don't know, isn't there a way to go in and at least tell it like I did something?
Yeah,
But
but
you
it's
miss
not
all-
gonna do your like
Not the
vitals
same.
during it.
Doesn't
It's
get
not
all the
same.
calories right. Doesn't get your heart
Um,
rate. And I can look and see like the little graph of when I was actually
I never look at any of that.
doing the most.
I look at my steps. I get worried when my heart rate is too high or too low or whatever it's telling me. I had so many heart rate alerts this past Sunday because I was at the baseball game, which was a real exciting back and forth. They kept tying and then losing
Until it
back and
wasn't.
forth and back and forth, and then we lost by a point.
Although extra innings recently they won. Was that
Yes,
last night?
2 nights ago, yeah. And then we went right from the baseball game to go see the fantastic motion picture Sinners, but that had a lot of heart racing moments, and so
I bet.
when I turned my my watch off theater mode, I had like 5 your heart rate is too high alerts. So yeah,
You'll like reading the Wikipedia page of Sinners, Megan.
I know. As Natty and Michael both know, my public announcement is that I can't watch scary movies, but I can go on Wikipedia and I do read the synopses of scary movies so that I can participate
in the conversation.
and be a part of that pulp culture. So if you're like, hey, have you seen this horror movie? No, but I know what happens because I've read the synopsis. And that's enough for me. And I don't know why that is, but that's just how I am. So yes, I will read this. I haven't read the synopsis for that one yet.
It's a good one. It was
It
one
was
of my
great.
favorite movies.
It was great, and
of
it wasn't
late.
too scary. It was a
Was
little
it like
bloody.
gory scary or just
Only
more
only a little bit.
There were
only
violent
a little
parts,
bit.
but
Yeah,
I mean,
I've seen much scarier. In fact, I would say, Milena and I were both like we're already mad at Natty because all of the trailers were disgusting.
I didn't watch a single trailer.
Oh, okay. No, not the trailers for Sinners. The trailers they showed before Sinners. Final Destination Bloodlines. Did you see that
They're
trailer?
still making Final Destination movies?
That was
Yeah.
the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in a trailer.
What with the whole like party and they're setting up and then like you see the rake goes like this.
Oh
and,
no,
like,
we
was it
saw a
that
different one. It was set in a tattoo shop and it involved piercings.
Oh
and
yeah, and the fans going.
gosh.
Blah 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 blah.
But I know if you're a millennial, you don't drive behind a logging truck on the highway.
No.
Like, that's how
Yeah.
you know
No.
people who have
Yeah.
seen or read.
Final
the
Destination
synopsis.
has saved lives.
Oh my god.
Did you
All
know
right.
you
Just the idea of it.
Well, and I think I'm an anxious person too, so I kind of joke about it, especially with my husband or friends. I'm like, see, a car wash could kill you. You don't know. You don't know, okay?
Oh, anything can kill you.
Everything's a danger.
Michael's like, I gotta fix this thing, and we're talking about Final Destination.
Yeah.
My
no.
last thing is that would be a great new Final Destination movie. Is if the premise is the movie franchise Final Destination has prevented so many deaths that the energy has built up of all these people who should have died, but instead they saw Final Destination and started to think better of like, I shouldn't be behind that logging truck, or I shouldn't do that. And then it causes the next big cataclysmic Final Destination event.
Get Hollywood on the phone.
Get a
It's a
pilot
good
going
concept.
for that.
It's a good concept.
That's like it's like the last Nightmare on Elm Street, but the last Wes Craven one.
Yeah, it's also very like Scream too.
Also,
One-
yeah, very
2
meta.
or 3.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyway, thank you for getting. Anyway, I got us on that tangent.
That's
about
all right.
Helping others, mostly because
Yeah.
it's just
Help
an
others
important
like Final
part-
Destination does. That's our takeaway.
That's how you're wrapping it all up today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so we're heading into the summer. We're almost
Yep.
done finals. We've got one more episode to see us ready to do. I'm going to pitch what our season
I
finale
was
is
gonna say, I
going
don't
to
know
be.
if you told me yet. Did you? You didn't tell me.
I have not
you
told
keep
you yet.
teasing it.
I'm telling you, this is it. I've been saving it for the reveal, and I'm gonna bring the entire office in on it. Whoever,
In here?
No. They're going to be able to participate digitally
Okay.
through technology.
Okay.
technology.
Look at that, you are a very tech forward
I
person.
am.
But
I
you're
am.
also pretty.
I'm very cautious
yeah, you're
about our
cautious
relationship
about
with it.
so.
I think that for our last episode, we should create a career-oriented playlist on Spotify, and then talk about the songs that we've selected and why they relate to careers.
Work.
Whatever you want. So I'm gonna have
No.
you and I pick some songs. I'm gonna put a call out to the office, Megan, if you want to toss a song in
Oh,
there,
absolutely.
and then I'll have everybody give me a quick little write up about why they picked their song.
And we'll get DMCA'd immediately.
Oh no, we're not gonna be able to play the songs.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna
Although
say.
I have to look into that because the university pays BMI and AMCAS
Harry
fees,
Fox
but
agency.
but I don't know that it would count on. I think it might only be for live performance. So
Well, let's make it live.
well, we'll
then.
do it live.
Well, I was gonna say, you're part of your, culmination. You should come to the studio and take a reformer Pilates class.
Oh my god.
Oh,
We have Reformer Flow 1, perfect for all beginners. We have men and women, people of all shapes and sizes.
Did you say reformer? Is that
Yeah, it's the Reformer.
because we need reformed?
No, that's just what it's called.
Okay.
it's
one of the pieces
reforming
of
your
equipment
body.
That was around this idea of what Joseph Pilates created on the mat, and now it's you
Wait,
use the
Pilates
Reformer.
is named after a dude, Joseph Pilates.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
there's
Did you know that? You didn't know that.
it's a cool story, actually, like how he utilized these methods to help people stay fit, like a very long time ago. You should look into it.
I mean, it's coming full circle because I didn't mention this earlier, but one of the guests that we had on this podcast was talking about his old friend Don and how Don had a little book
It's true.
about identifying
Clifton
your
Strengths,
strengths.
Don.
Yes.
I remember that story. You're like,
And
my
he's like-
friend Don.
And he's like, I can't remember the name of it. And he's like, but it was my friend Don Clifton. And we're like, well, Clifton Strengths, of course.
Yep, that was yeah.
David
that was-
Eisenhower
yeah,
brought
it was
that up in our
David
interview
Eisenhower.
with
That
him.
was earlier this season. So yeah, nice full circle moment on the show.
Don
He-
Clifton and Joseph Pilates.
I
And
mean,
I
all
li-
I'm saying is that one of our center and balance classes, which is like a Reformer Flow 1 class, but a little more stretching, will make you feel like a new person.
my body doesn't stretch.
You
I think
you
it'll make me.
will.
I
If
think
you
it'll
do
make me feel like.
Pilates consistently, you'll be able to stretch your body.
I think it'll make us feel like old people.
It will.
I already feel that way. Trust me. Don't worry about it. Don't need to go to a class.
If I
to know
ever
that.
get my instructor cert one day, you two,
We'll
I will
we'll-
come back here and
we'll
I will
we'll
teach
clear
you.
out. We'll clear out the event space, and we'll set up a Pilates studios in 212 there.
Okay.
Well, then
I
I
have
have
to
to
go-
get my certification.
I have to
then.
go to the dentist.
I was just.
I have to go to the dentist.
I
that
knew
day.
you were doing it. That's why I
Oh,
paused.
no.
I was about to say it too.
No, I'm gonna have it be something else that you would like to go to, and then you show up, and there's just mats, and there's just a Pilates teacher, and you're gonna do mat Pilates.
Well, this has been another
Debate.
episode of CS Radio.
Hold on. Before we go, on the theme of work songs, what Taylor Swift song do you have one in mind that you think would fit in
I'm such a big Swiftie.
as a super fan?
Love Taylor. I'm a super fan in that I'm the most super fan that most people know, but there are people who are a lot bigger fans than me. So I'm just gonna put that out there for any Swifties
I don't
listening.
believe it.
I mean, you should. I'm trying to just like going through albums in my head. There's like a couple that I'm thinking about, but this is like hard 'cause like I don't want to like misrepresent Taylor. Like I have a
Then
thinking
we'll.
about her most recent album. I mean, it seems kind of cheeky and obvious, but her first single off of Tortured Poets Department. I love you, it's ruining my life. Like maybe you
Oh.
love your career so much that you're
Mhm.
putting so
yeah,
much
the,
into
the,
it.
all the investment bankers, all the
I think it's gonna
American
really
psychos
resonate, yeah.
that-
But that's just, I want to think more deeper on that, and I will send you a list.
All right.
Okay. Yeah,
all
well,
right.
we'll include it in the playlist or whatever your updated version is. Yeah.
Well, Megan, thanks so much for coming
Thank you
back.
for
We really
having
appreciate it.
me.
Such a great story too, and such a great perspective about where a year can take you. And
Yeah.
it's been really wonderful to catch up with you. You can certainly, if you're a student, the summertime is a great time to do some of these inventories. Again, some of them you can take free on our website, Career Explorer. You can walk through yourself. We'd be happy to discuss the results with you after. If you want to take MBTI or Clifton Strengths, you do have to make an appointment to do that, so you can reach out to an advisor on your team and ask them about that, and they can set you up with that if you feel it's necessary. But it's been great. We've got one more to go. We're going to finish strong. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we'll see you next time on CS Radio. This podcast is produced by the University of Pennsylvania Career Services Office, a division of University Life. It was created by J. Michael DeAngelis and Amy Lynn Kirshner. Your hosts and producers are J. Michael DeAngelis and Natty Leach, and it's produced, mixed, and edited by Lorna Lynn. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at Penn Career Serve. We'll see you next time on CS Radio.